Shruti, politics could change. I won't say will change. I won't make anything definitive because, whatever we assume turns out to be incorrect often. It could change. In what direction could it change?
I think it already has changed. I think it is a big day for India. And I think it's not simply one for democracy, but for a contested Indian electorate. So the Indian electorate has chosen a compromise, contestation, even perhaps instability over the strongman authoritarian rule we've had for 10 years. And I think that is a major change. And I thought, I heard the speech, and that's why I was late to join you. I actually thought the speech was more like a farewell address where the person was actually just kind of, haplessly kind of listing out their achievements over the last 10 years as a like an overwrought campaign speech, really. And so I think there is definitely a shift in the political mood, in the political sentiment, and certainly in the nature of the contestation and fight back in the country.
But
And I
can I
think
can
that
I
that
can I
has
be
to be the
contrarian?
positive.
Can
I
I
mean,
can
I
I
wouldn't go as
can
far. I mean, I agree with Abhijit Iyer Mitra that yes, this is a defeat because this was a plebiscite on one man. Had this not been, was not a campaign run in the name of NDA. It's all very well now to spin it as a third time victory for the NDA and call it historic. It is not. It is a return to coalition politics. We don't know what TDP is going to do. We don't know what JDU is going to do. We don't know what even Mamata is going to do. Right. So, I mean, let's hold our horses. And I think also, sure, there's a big gap in the number of seats, but 100 seats by the Congress means that for the first time, you have two national polls in India. Quite apart from regional polls, and normally you've had one party domination with lots of little parties. This is actually two national polls, and I think that is a new turn again in Indian
okay,
politics. No, let me
y-
finish because everyone said a
oh,
large number of things.
okay,
Yeah,
quickly.
no,
I was
I
going
mean,
to pick up. Yeah.
I think, and finally, I think there's going to be a change in the nature of public debate and media in the country, also in India's courts. I think those institutions which felt beleaguered, rightly or wrongly, will now find a way to kind of return to, if not a balance, but people will find a way to kind of claw back some of the liberties that have eroded. And as Pratap Bhanu Mehta today has just said, Modi has become an ordinary politician. He's just going to have to do the kind of work that ordinary politicians. He'll have to put up with criticism. He will have to put up with compromises. He will not be able to kind of strong arm the way things have been going on
Okay.
now for 10 years.
Okay, that is an interesting point, and it's one that was made even by Yogendra Yadav and many of us who travel. The longing for more normalized politics, right? Not necessarily a huge anti-incumbency against Modi, as much as a need to contain, a need to restrain unbridled power. And I think that is an important point that you make. But Tripudaman, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to quickly come in on something that Shruti said and do a bit of self-aggrandizement, if I might. Last year, I'd written a paper in the Journal of Democracy, and I remember speaking about it on your show as well, where I had argued precisely that India's democratic vitality remains intact, and it should not be judged on the functioning or non-functioning thereof of so-called independent institutions or the courts, but on electoral participation and contestation. And I think that is something very much that is being proved by this election. And as Shruti says, you will see many of these institutions regain the kind of functioning they had during the coalition era, which was a functioning buttressed by the lack of concentration of executive power and nothing else. So I'm glad to be proven right, at least on that score.
Okay, I want to go back to the politicians, but Sadanand, a quick interjection from you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, look, I would personally love it, right? If you have a government that a little bit, that where the power is a little bit more constrained, journalists are not as fearful, institutions claw back independence and all of that. So I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. That would be great if we went in that direction. But just to play devil's advocate, why do we necessarily feel that that would be true? I mean, it's possible that he comes back. He still has the same right hand man who is a home minister. He has the ED. He has the CBI. He has all. I mean, we've seen governments without majorities, you know, able to use these things, if
Mm.
they feel that they need to in the past. So why do we suddenly think that we're going to return to a sort of 1990s IK Gujaral sort of situation? Because I don't see the numbers taking us there. I would agree with that if this were, say, BJP had come back with 182 or something like that.
Mhm.
But this is going to be a pretty strong, stable government. It has a couple of allies. It has, and then even if you were to sort of, let's just say, I mean, I don't know how easy it is for a government, any government anywhere in the world, to kind of change its manner of functioning in this way. I mean, does this mean that suddenly you're going to have a situation
But
where
isn't it? But
people
isn't
go
it
on
easier?
Artstuck and start calling Modi names? Are we going to see that
No,
happening? I'd be
no. But
surprised.
then, can I try and respond? Isn't it easier to have a balance of power when you have a significant opposition? What had happened in the last two terms is that your opposition had kind of paled into insignificance. You didn't have a national counterpole.
Correct, but I think what you have in India is that when you have a powerful executive, and the powerful executive really controls many levers. I
Yeah.
don't think that those levers have been released, and so I'm just going to put down metrics, right? Let's see if they happen or not. I'd be happy. I'd be happy if they happen. I'm not wrong. I'm not. Don't get me wrong on the direction. But are we going to suddenly find on nightly news, on the Hindi news channels, that there is going to be room for people who say sharply critical things, right? Is Dhruv Rathi getting a show on Aaj Tak anytime soon? I'm just to be
Yeah.
rhetorical.
Yeah.
Are we going to find that opposition leaders do not suddenly find the tax man at their door?